My name is Edward Thompson. I'm 72 years old. I worked as a high school principal for 38 years. I raised my daughter Jessica alone after my wife passed away when Jessica was only 12. I thought I had done everything right as a father. I was wrong. After I retired, I moved into the house I had built with my own hands 30 years ago. It was a modest but comfortable home with a big backyard and a small garden I tended every morning. Jessica had gotten married 5 years ago and lived with her husband in another city. She would visit once every few months, usually when she needed something. One Tuesday afternoon, I came home early from my doctor's appointment. As I turned into the driveway, I noticed the garage door was wide open. That was strange. I usually kept it closed. I parked the car and walked toward the house. That's when I saw her. Jessica was inside the garage, moving my belongings. My old wooden desk, my bookshelves, my clothes in boxes, even the framed photographs of her mother. She had stacked everything against the back wall of the garage. I stood there for a moment, trying to understand what I was seeing. "Jessica?" I called out. She turned around, startled. When she saw me, her expression changed from surprise to irritation. "Dad, you're home early," she said, brushing dust off her hands. "What are you doing with my things?" I asked calmly. She looked at me like I was a child who didn't understand something simple. "I'm making space," she said. "You're too old to live here anymore. This house is too big for one person, and honestly, it's time you moved into something smaller. Maybe an assisted living place. Mark and I were thinking of moving in here. It would be better for everyone." I stood frozen in the driveway. She continued, "You're 72, Dad. You don't need all this space. We'll take care of the house. You'll be more comfortable somewhere else." I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I simply nodded slowly and walked past her into the house. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. I thought about all the years I had spent raising her alone. The school plays I never missed, the college tuition I paid by working extra jobs, the house I built so she would always have a home to come back to. And now, she was putting my life in boxes and telling me I was too old to live in my own house. I stayed silent. But silence didn't mean I was doing nothing. 3 days later, I met with my lawyer, Mr. Alan Whitaker. We had known each other since we were young men. I sat in his office and explained everything that had happened. "I want to make some changes," I told him. "Quiet ones." Over the next 2 months, we restructured everything. The house was placed into a trust. I moved the majority of my savings and investments into accounts that Jessica had no access to. I also wrote a letter, not out of anger, but out of clarity. Then I waited. One morning, I called Jessica and told her I wanted to talk. She came over with her husband, Mark. They looked confident, as if they had already won. I invited them to sit in the living room. "I've made some decisions about the house and my affairs," I said calmly. "I've put the house into a trust. It no longer belongs to me personally." Jessica smiled. "That's fine. We can work with that." I continued, "The trust is controlled by someone else now. And I've decided that when I pass, the house and the majority of my assets will go to the local children's hospital. They're building a new wing in your mother's name." The smile disappeared from Jessica's face. Mark leaned forward. "What are you talking about? You can't just." "I can," I said. "And I already have." Jessica's voice rose. "Dad, this is our house. We were going to live here." I looked at her and replied, "You told me I was too old to live here. So I decided to make sure the house goes somewhere it will actually be appreciated." She stood up, angry. "You're doing this because of what I said. That's ridiculous." "No," I said quietly. "I'm doing this because you showed me exactly how you see me. And I refuse to leave everything I built to someone who thinks I'm just in the way. Mark tried to reason with me. Jessica cried and accused me of being cruel. I listened to all of it without raising my voice. Before they left, Jessica looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "You're really going to throw your own daughter out of your life?" I answered softly, "You already did that when you started packing my things into the garage." They left that day and didn't come back. 6 months later, I sold the big house and moved into a smaller, peaceful home near a lake. It has a small garden and a view of the water. I wake up every morning and drink my coffee in silence, the kind of silence that doesn't hurt anymore. Jessica still calls sometimes. She says she's sorry. She says she didn't mean what she said that day. I listen, but I don't invite her over. I don't offer her money. I don't pretend things are the same. Some people say children are supposed to take care of their parents when they get old. But I've learned that respect isn't something you're owed just because you gave someone life. It's something you earn by how you treat them when they have nothing left to give you. I came home early that day and found my daughter moving my life into the garage. She thought I was too old to fight back. She was wrong.